Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. Today is the 20th of February. I hope you all are doing well. Frigid here in the Midwest, absolutely cold, but we have some fire art that is coming out for Archazia Island. Enchanted reveals are here. We do not have all of them, but we have quite a few. So I wanted to put together a video, discuss them, share my thoughts, and yeah, that's the purpose of today's video. So overall, I love what they did with the Enchanteds for Archazia Island. I think the style and the color and the just like I guess like the color palette and the overall theme fits much more with like what I want to see out of an Enchanted for Lorcana. Gives me very much kind of Shimmering Skies vibes in terms of how the foils are kind of curling and the overall just like vibrant colors and the art just really pops in them. I absolutely love what they've done here. Obviously, I have some favorites, some ones we don't like as much. We'll discuss that a little bit, but I think overall they did a very, very good job, and I was very, very happy with the overall concept and idea that they did. So kudos to them. I think they crushed the set. I think they knocked it out of the park. I'm very happy with what we have thus far. Obviously, with more to come here still as well. So, starting off with the glass slipper. This is an item, obviously, which is never the items and songs and actions are typically not the most valuable of Enchanteds, and so this probably is going to be on the lower tier of Enchanteds. Overall, I think it is the glass slipper in terms of like an IP and within the Disney lore, I think is very deserving of an Enchanted, and I think the artist did an amazing job portraying it here. So very, very excited for it. This is one, once again, that like, you know, when I'm collecting these with my daughter or opening packs, this will be one that she will be very excited if we pull, and so I will absolutely be hoping we get one of these. If not, then we'll get one on secondary. I do think it's going to be very cheap, so when you talk about like opening packs, and if this is the Enchanted you get, might not be the most valuable, which never feels the best, but at the end of the day, it is a very gorgeous art, and I think the artist, Anna, here did an amazing job, so kudos to Anna for another piece of fantastic artwork within Lorcana. We then have some other kind of actions and items and things like that. We have the return of Hercules, which I think Bree did a great job on. I love the kind of the colors, the characters, the gate in the background, the clouds. Like it's just got a very Hercules vibe to it. I think it looks very good. Once again, it's an action, so probably not the most valuable of cards, but I think that it's once again just an amazing piece of art, an amazing illustration, and definitely one that it's not my favorite. We'll get to some of my favorites later, but I think the artist did a good job, and definitely not one that I'll be mad putting in the binder without a doubt. Devil's Eye Diamond, another item here coming in. This probably will be one of the most cheap and affordable Enchanteds of the set, I would imagine. Obviously not the most iconic IP, not the most iconic, you know, item in Disney lore. I don't think it's the most playable card, and so there's a lot of factors working against it. Now, obviously, I'm not the, you know, most competitive Lorcana player, so if it finds its way into the meta, then obviously that is going to increase the price pretty dramatically. Overall, I think that this is going to be one of the cheaper ones from the set. I do think as an art and as an illustration, it looks very, very good. I think the diamond pops. The background looks amazing. And once again, I just as a piece of art and for the illustrations themselves, I love every single card that's been released thus far. I know a lot of people look at these and they say, well, the items aren't very expensive. The locations aren't very expensive, whatever. The set likely won't have enchanted locations. But nevertheless, I just think that a lot of people get caught up in like the pricing of them, and I think if you take a step back and just truly enjoy them for what they are in terms of amazing art, I think they all, in terms of just like standalone aesthetics, I think they look amazing. This is no, you know, it's going to be very cheap, but I think the art is not very cheap. I think it looks amazing. One of my favorites here in terms of like non-character cards, Restoring Atlantis. I think this card looks amazing. You can see her up in the air there and all the lights shining, the town here down below it with the tower, the trees. I think the aesthetic of this card looks tremendous. Definitely one of my favorites of the non-characters. I would say this is probably my favorite, up there with the glass slipper. If we're talking about non-character Enchanteds, I think the art looks amazing. 10 out of 10. Great work on Restoring Atlantis. Another non-character card here, Show Me More. You see the queen in the background with kind of the big windows, but she's kind of drawn to the front, the plants and the bushes behind her with the flowers and everything. Once again, as just a standalone piece of art, I think it looks amazing. The attention to detail is fantastic. Colors are amazing. not going to be the most valuable card most likely, but once again, as someone like myself who's just a pure collector, obviously we're going to open some packs and we're going to try and pull some of these. But at the end of the day, if they get incredibly cheap, like I have no problem just buying the singles and adding them to our collection as well. So we'll be on the lookout for these. We'll talk about more like value things and stuff like that in subsequent videos. Right now I just want to focus on the art and enjoy them for what they are. I think overall, once again, the illustration here by Maria does look amazing, and I think she did a fantastic job with this particular illustration. And then my favorite, my chase and my daughter's chase of the set, our favorite card thus far, the Tamatoa Happy as a Clam. This card is gorgeous. This card stands out. This card has a very unique style. This card is playable. It's going to be in the meta. Sapphire is kind of having like a resurgence. Not that it ever went away, but it's kind of commanding a lot of dialogue right now. This card is going to be, it's amazing, and it's going to be very expensive. Probably the most valuable enchanted to come out of his set since Mufasa in terms of character and IP, artwork, just the sheer amount of things going for it. This is definitely going to be in the 200 plus category of enchanted set cards, which is it's a very fine line. There's not many above that. Kind of like we're probably at like 8 now that are constantly above that $200 floor. But I think that this card makes so much sense to be in that price tier, and it is just gorgeous. So it is illustrated by Beatrice Blue, who I was not familiar with her work. She actually does children's books and illustrations, and she has hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. Very well respected and known artist, it would appear. This was my first exposure to her. I immediately went and followed her on Instagram. I checked out her other work. She has some books on Amazon and things like that we're going to order. Overall, 10 out of 10. I think she crushed it with this art. I'm very excited to see, hopefully, her continue in Lorcana. And I'm very excited just as enjoying these arts and these illustrations. As we get more and more sets released, you can kind of, like, as soon as I saw this card, I'm like, oh, this is like a completely new feel for Lorcana. Like, I immediately knew that this was a newer artist putting a newer vibe and her kind of creativity onto the card. And I hope that, obviously, Beatrice sticks around and continues to do more cards, because I think she did an amazing job with this artwork. So this is without a doubt my favorite, my chase, and it just it gives me all the good feels when you're looking at a piece of art. 10 out of 10. Absolutely love it. I love the Enchanteds as a whole. I think they did an amazing job with the color scheme, bringing back that real like foil that pops, the vibrant colors. Just chef's kiss. Now, a couple changes in some additional cards here. So we have the Hiro Hamada, which is obviously a worthy character and IP fan favorite. And we have two different versions here. So we have on the left here, this is the style or the card that you will get in the booster packs. And then on the right, you have the style that will be awarded to the top 8 for the Set Champs promo. And so two different, very different kind of takes on the card. Obviously, two different artists here between Rachel on the left and Max on the right, respectively. The one on the right has been compared to like Vegeta in terms of like a DBZ kind of vibe. I can definitely see that. And then the one on the left is much more kind of like anime or cartoony, in my opinion. I like them both. I think they both have their each individual appeal to them and aesthetics that kind of bring you into the card. I think that or a couple things that I wanted to note on these particular cards, though. You'll notice that the emblem for the Set Champs matches that we've seen on Challenge and Championship promos, and that is going to be the competitive play emblem moving forward. So any of our Set Champs promos are going to be the same indicator that we've seen on our bigger challenge cards or championship cards thus far. I'm a big fan of that change. I've never liked the idea that, an iconic card like the Rockstar Stitch from the first Set Champs has the same promo indicator as like a Flotsam and Jetsam Ursula's Return set release promo. Like, those are two very different cards, two very different, levels of like collectability. And so the fact that they're, identified with the same promo indicator, I don't love. I absolutely love having unique indicators for different things. For example, the Spiel Essen promo, Gamescom, Gen Con, etc. Having unique promos for event-specific cards, organized play-related cards, etc. I really am a big fan of. So it's nice to see that. You'll also notice here at the bottom, if you can see it, I'll zoom in a little bit here. You'll see that it is 248/P2. I believe the P is going to essentially promo 2. It's going to continue to, the Set Champs cards are going to say P. the Disney Lorcana Challenge and Disney Lorcana Championships will be identified with a C. It looks like. Who knows what Worlds is gonna hold? Whether that's like a W for the whole New World promo, or if it remains in a C, P, etc. We'll see what comes. But there will be a differentiator between P and C. It looks like moving forward, since they will have the same emblem to kind of identify where within the organized placing did these cards come from. So Hero gets 2 cards. I will say I would love to see them adapt their strategy to the set champs card moving forward to give us another enchanted that is not included in the set already. So obviously Hero has another enchanted here. I would love to see I would love to see a new character get enchanted, and I would love to see them from a collectability standpoint. I think it would be very, very cool if they included the set champs promo with a card that is like meta defining, or a card that they think is going to be very heavily entrenched in the meta that we're competing for within that set champs tournament. So for this meta in particular, the bell that was released, the 3-drop that you can play on turn 1 for free, it would appear is going to be a 4 of common. Like, that card is going to be out and about, very rampant. It's going to be one of the most valuable cards and one of the most bought cards in this entire set. So it didn't get an enchanted. Obviously, it's a common. It did not get an enchanted in our traditional lineup here, at least yet. It would be very cool to see it get one as a set champs. Even though it's a common, giving it the set champs enchanted, I think would make a ton of sense. And it seems like it's going to kind of define the meta. And so I'd love to see them kind of, use like more. I mean, we're talking about set champs, competitive play, like organized play. Like, I want to see some of these cards that like that will define this era, if you will. If Belle truly is as good as people say she is, she's going to really define the meta. And so I feel like having her as a set champs reward in the enchanted foil would just be 10 out of 10. So I hope they, start to include cards in the set that don't already have an enchanted. Having the double enchanted, I think, is getting a little old in my opinion, and so I do hope that they change that moving forward. I love the illustrations, I love the art of the cards. That's just one little critique I would have for the double set champs release. And then it wouldn't be a Lorcana set if we did not have a princess in it. We have Aurora here that was released this morning. Obviously different language there, so I can't read it out. But she is traditional Sleeping Beauty, vibrant colors. If you're familiar with the first chapter, Aurora Enchanted, I pointed out many times that like the flowers and the roses in that illustration really pop and kind of bring the colors out of the cards between the reds and the pinks and the blues and the so-ons. I think it does a good job of that here as well, with obviously the amber, the gold colors, her gold hair, iconic pose, Sleeping Beauty. The card's gorgeous, absolutely tremendous. And it's so cool because we have, like, I have pictures of my daughter at Disney with these different princesses, whether it's Tiana or Elsa or Anna or Aurora, right? All these different princesses. And so it's really cool. Like, I foresee, like, stacking, like, my daughter with Elsa, and then having the Elsa enchanted next to it, like in some sort of like frame. And then the same for like Aurora, right? We have a picture of my daughter with Aurora, and then having like the 2 Sleeping Beauty enchanted next to it or something like that. Like, I think there's some really cool like ways to, just encapsulate our memories as a family with these cards that, are once again just like kind of additional memories, right? Different style, but I think that there will be a really cool way to display them in the future with stuff like that, as we kind of just soak in their childhood and enjoy it while we're here. So with that being said, that's it for the releases thus far. Let me refresh. Oh, no, we have one more. Let me refresh Mushu Report, and then we'll take a look at the Mad Hatter. Doesn't look like any more have been released thus far. We did get one more, and we don't have a high res of this photo, so I apologize. But we do have the Mad Hatter as well that got enchanted. This one kind of gives me like Lucky Charms vibes when I'm looking at it, like the Lucky Charms Leprechaun. When you look at just like a box of Lucky Charms, like it kind of, the colors really remind me of it. Obviously with kind of the leprechaun hat, the greens, the trees, the grass, everything that's going on here with the Mad Hatter. It's kind of the vibe that I get. It does look very cool. I like the card overall aesthetically. Once again, I don't think it's going to necessarily be the most valuable. Now that will be determined by if it's very meta or not. But at the end of the day, I think that a card like this, like, the Tamatoa, the Aurora, I think they're kind of in their own class for this set. Cards like the Mad Hatter, they look good, not going to be as valuable, not going to be as big of chases, but shout out to the artist that illustrated that card, is it does definitely look good, will definitely look good in a binder. And then I wanted to actually just kind of talk about this a little bit here today, before we get out of here. Looking at some of these cards, like when you're flipping through your binder or you're comparing Lorcana cards to Pokemon or, whatever, One Piece, Magic, etc. I just always notice, and obviously I'm a huge fan of vintage Pokemon, right? And some of the older 151 Pokemon I have core memories with and just, nostalgia for. But whenever you look at these cards side by side, like in a binder, like my eyes are automatically just drawn to the Enchanteds from Lorcana. I feel like that the artwork is second to none as we look at other TCGs. And I think that there's, we need to make some changes in terms of maybe what's getting an Enchanted and their rarity tiers, right? A lot of the things that I've talked about there. But I think that whenever you look at these cards, like the Enchanteds just stand out. Like they just pop, and I just love looking at them. They make me so happy. I cannot wait to get my hands on the Tamatoa, get my hands on the Aurora. I'm hoping I hope we get Bajira, the legendary from Steel. I hope they get an Enchanted. That would be really, really cool to see. But overall, I love the Lorcana Enchanteds. We still have not watched Bolt, and I'm sure that Bolt will get an Enchanted given that they're on the packs and the face of Archazia's Island. But we got to watch that one, so hopefully that Enchanted looks good. But overall, once again, like I love the Splash card. I love 151. I love Pokemon. But at the end of the day, just nothing. Like, it's just night and day, in my opinion. Just nowhere close in terms of the overall art and how well these cards are illustrated. So that's not a knock at Pokemon. I love this card. I think it looks very good. But side by side, give me the Enchanted 10 out of 10. So that's just my initial thoughts. I know that's my thoughts. I know you guys might not feel the same, and that's okay. But just sharing my thoughts on the overall design of the cards, some feedback here, and then we'll get out of here. I really, really wish that, just for the sake of like people opening Lorcana and the collectability, like I know not everyone's like me where they're going to love all these different cards, right? When they're staring at some of these actions and items and cards that aren't going to have a lot of value, they're just not as deeply entrenched. They don't have the core connection that I do, and I want them to still have a good experience opening these packs. And so when cards like the Glass Slipper or the Return of Hercules, Devil's Eye Diamond, etc., they take up one of the the 12 Enchanteds for each given set, and they're only, let's say, like $50 in value, $50 to $100. That really deters people from opening. And so I am of the mindset now that if, let's say, we get 12 Enchanteds per set, the 1 in 96 pull rate, that remains consistent, I think that those should all be characters. I don't think we should have any songs, actions, items that make up that 12 slot position. Set 1 and set 2 only had characters, and those are my favorite top to bottom. When you look at the entire Enchanted offering, those are my favorite by far. Now, what I think would make sense is, once again, we add in some sort of rarity tier between Legendary and Enchanted, where maybe it's a 1 per box, 1 per 20, 1 per 24, whatever rarity you want to do there that's just more common than Enchanteds, and you add in some of these Glass Slipper, Devil's Eye Diamond, etc. I think that that's going to command a little bit of a premium. That's going to help the collectability a little bit, while also reserving the significant chase of these big cards. They should have big value. They're 1 in 96. They should be valuable cards. That's all there is to it. And so I think that commanding, saving some of these bigger characters for those slots, and even like opening up to more like commons and things like that. Like the Belle from this set is going to be a meta defining card. Her as an Enchanted with a princess, she's amazingly playable in the meta, awesome art. Like, give me that as an Enchanted. And so I just feel like they can get better, right? And they can improve these sets time after time. And so I would love to see us get away from the, no locations in the set. Great, 2 thumbs up on that. Let's get away from the items. Let's get away from the songs. Let's get away from the actions as Enchanted, and let's really hone in on the characters for these hard pull rates and these hard chases. Give us more of this Tamatoa, baby. Like, give me 12 of these and take my money, right? That's, at the end of the day, that's what Ravensburger is here to do. And so give me more of this, and I'll be a happy camper, and you can just extract money from my wallet as only Disney can, and you know, I'll shut up and be happy. So that's more or less what I want to see. Let's get a new rarity tier. Let's get our characters, our big, awesome artwork characters as our 12 Enchanteds. Let's have some other alt arts in there for the Glass Slipper, the Devil's Eye Diamond, Show Me More, etc. And let the artists cook and do what they do with their amazing art. That just mix it up a little bit, create a little bit more value on the higher tier, give us some mid tiers, and I think Lorcana is going to be set up to succeed. So those are some changes that I would like to see off the back of this. Once again, I think the artworks look amazing. I understand that I'm a sicko with like this nostalgic connection between my daughter and Pokemon and all these different things that are going on in my head, and not everyone is going to be happy when they pull some of these cards. So just my general thoughts as I think about the community's feedback and an overall outlook on these cards. So with that being said, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know your thoughts on the Enchanteds, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye.